Hi everyone, my name is bsquiklehausen, and I'm collaborating with Paradox Interactive to bring you a tutorial on how to build and detail a realistic rail yard in city skylines. Rail yards are incredibly important pieces of infrastructure in real life, and building them realistically can shape your industrial areas and provide interesting lots to build around, in addition to being some fantastic places to spend a little extra time detailing to get that perfect grungy look. I'm using a few essential mods here. With that said, as can be seen here, you can still build a realistic yard 100% vanilla. To start, we're going to break down the components of a typical freight train yard using this medium-sized yard I've built here. First off, the main line. Now this isn't really part of the yard, but the main line will typically run along one side of the yard or the other, rather than straight through the middle. Next up, we have the yard tracks. Now these are easy. They're a bunch of tightly spaced, parallel train tracks that form the bulk of the yard. It's where freight trains are built up and broken down to make sure that each car is on the right train. These tracks are all connected to each other by this track, the yard ladder. Typically, you'll want to keep this straight, but a gentle curve won't hurt. You'll usually have a ladder on both ends of the yard tracks, though if you're super tight on space, having a stub end yard can still be realistic. Connect the ladders to the main line so that trains can get in and out of the yard. The last track, and the one that will really perfect the yard look, is the lead track. It's basically an extra track parallel to your main line, built in the opposite direction of the yard tracks. This lets the crew that's building trains in the yard pull out and switch tracks without blocking the main line. In city skylines, these yards are very easy to build using the one-way tracks. I've upgraded a few of them here to double tracks to add some density to the yard, but it'd actually be more realistic to stick with single tracks. One last track you might want to include is a team track, which will usually connect to a lead track and provide the crew with a place to park their locomotives. On to detailing. Use the surface painter brush, or, in vanilla, get creative with the dirt park paths to cover as much of the yard area in dirt as you can. Then, in places where not a lot of people go, add some untamed grass and tufts. Plants that are close to the train tracks can catch fire, so you'll want to make sure that all your grasses are safely cut back. Next, you're going to want to add some trains. These ones I made myself and are available on the Steam Workshop as ploppable props. There are train props from all over the world available on the Steam Workshop, so pick the ones that best suit your city's location. Use prop and tree anarchy to place them down on the tracks. Generally speaking, in most yards like this, you'll use freight cars that can be unloaded without special equipment, so that means that container cars in particular are best suited for other yards. Near the team track, give the crews a small office to hang out in and file some paperwork, as well as a couple tanks to fuel the locomotives from. Scatter around some parked cars and trucks and a little bit of trash or scrap metal. Yards are generally kept reasonably clean. It's not a landfill, but you definitely can't eat off the floor. And that's basically it. These yards can really come in any size, from a huge sprawling facility with dozens of tracks, to a simple pocket yard like this one that might not even need a team track. There are a couple different types of yards that serve different freight purposes. While the one we built here is mostly for general freight, an intermodal yard, where containers are moved from trucks or ships onto trains, looks more like this. A long parking lot with a couple of lonely tracks down the middle, surrounding a parked train with a bunch of truck trailers ready to load the containers on or off, as well as a couple of straddle cranes will finish this yard perfectly. If you were looking carefully at this build, you probably noticed a distinct lack of passenger cars. Those would be handled at a separate facility, like this one. I'm not going to go into super specifics of this one, but since passenger trains usually aren't built and rebuilt as much, these specific yards are mostly used for storage of trains that aren't in service. This large building here is a maintenance facility, which you can build by basically putting some train tracks into a warehouse, adding some prop doors if your doors don't line up. There are train yards to fit every type of train and every location in your city. If you're building a rural area, a massive sprawling yard complete with a hump to let gravity sort train cars would be an awesome build. And if you're limited on space, a tiny layup yard at the end of a passenger line can really help visually accent the end of the line. So with that all said, go get building, and I can't wait to see what amazing train yards you all build. And of course, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more video tutorials. See ya!